Hello. Hi, it's nice to see you all. Um, okay, so good afternoon. As Mercedes said, my name is Ana Bizberge. I'm from University of Buenos Aires and Universidad Nacional de Quilmes in Argentina, and I recently joined the IMMAA as a member of the advisory committee. So it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to present this work with you. What I'm presenting here are the results of an exploratory research that I developed with my colleague María Soledad Segura. She is from the Universidad Nacional de Córdoba, also in Argentina. We analyzed measures adopted by different actors that affected digital rights, more specifically freedom of expression, access, and privacy during the first 6 months of COVID-19 pandemic, that is March to August of 2020, in 3 Latin American countries, Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico. We decided to work with these countries because of its importance in terms of political and economic influence in the whole region, and because their governments have different political orientations, right-wing in Brazil and progressive from traditional parties in Argentina and Mexico. Other reason why we decided to work with Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico is because the measures each country adopted to contain the spread of the virus included different levels of restrictions. And also the states developed different strategies to address the new needs and problems associated with digital rights that emerged during the advance of COVID-19 pandemic. We carried out a comparative analysis of the measures that affected digital rights of freedom of expression, access, and privacy implemented by 3 types of players in these 3 countries. The 3 types of players are governments and private companies, that is ISPs and internet intermediaries, or I would say social media on the one hand. And we also studied reactions from civil society and international organizations on the other hand. The theoretical approach that we developed comes from human rights provisions about progressive and regressive policymaking. This principle of progressiveness for protection of human rights appears on the American Convention on Human Rights, in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as well as in documents of the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights of the OAS. The principle of progressiveness refers to the adoption of measures to promote the full exercise of human rights progressively and implies its opposite, non-regressiveness, which prevents states from adopting measures that worsen the situation of rights enjoyed by the population. So, what are the main findings of our research? We broadly summarized, in this presentation, I would broadly summarize the progressive and regressive measures adopted by these different players regarding digital rights of access, freedom of expression and information, and privacy. Each of these rights is also affected by different types of problems caused by governments and or internet and telecommunication companies. And these problems have to do with connectivity, geolocation of patients, content removal, disinformation, among others. What we may say about public policies or about measures taken by states. Public policies adopted during COVID-19 pandemic varied in these 3 different countries. They have included some regressive measures, such as the official spread of disinformation in the 3 countries, the promotion of self-censorship and surveillance, but also it also introduced some progressive measures, sometimes in association with civil societies organizations, such as those aimed at guaranteeing access to connectivity and online content through 0 rating offers. Regarding internet companies, these companies develop regressive strategies. At the beginning, they develop regressive strategies globally, which in certain cases, such as the spread of fake news, automatic censorship, or the sale of personal data from video conferencing platforms, they had to reverse, offer explanations, and provide alternative solutions. In relation to ISPs, they form alliance with governments and adopted some measures that contributed to the expansion of rights with temporary measures, such as the ones that I already mentioned, such as segregating content and the establishment of a minimum service plan to maintain the conditions of access to information, to services and communication. What happened with civil society organizations? Well, the civil society in each country tried to influence governments so that they would promote progressive solutions. In some cases, it was able to offer alternative solutions such as data fact-checking, community internet networks, or free software, video conference platforms, and open access agreements. To conclude, in situations of risk, exceptional measures are taken that can set an adverse precedent, such as surveillance practices, public and private censorship. However, they also bring the opportunity to build progressive, viable, and sustainable alternatives, such as exceptional zero-rating practices to guarantee access to teleeducation, community internet solutions, or free software. The crisis is also a fertile ground for debating digital rights from a multi-stakeholder approach that considers inputs from all the players involved with a much broader social scope. It is up to social activism, private companies' cooperation, and state decisions to transform this adverse situation into a window of opportunity to guarantee human rights. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you are interested, I can share the article where you can find all these measures that I broadly mentioned analyzed in detail.